Welcome back to my channel. This is Eric. This is the Denver and Rio Grande Western 480. It's a 282 Mikado. And here is Denver Rio Grande Western 477. Is also a 282 Mikado. I got a chance to ride the last round trip of the year, of the season, to Silverton and return. Here is Rockwood, Colorado. We're cutting off the helper, which is 477. Here's the train on the High Line, getting pulled by the 480. Technically, at this location, it's downhill, and the operating rules or procedures on the Denver Rio Grande was to not double head downhill. 477 took off early, light power to the water tank, and it can be filled with water and ready to go when 480 and the train gets there. Rio Grande 480 was built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1925. It's a 282 Mikado, and the railroad officially called them a K-36. Here is 480 on an oil train, 1960s. Quite the oil boom in northern New Mexico at that time. The K-36 is the class of locomotive, K standing for Mikado, the wheel arrangement 282, and 36 is for the pulling power, pulling force, 36,000 pounds of tractive effort, and you get a K-36. The K-36s had a long and storied career with the Denver Rio Grande Western. Here's two narrow gauge locomotives on part of the railroad that was dual gauged, and it's actually pulling a mixture with standard gauge equipment. The railroad had idler cars. You can have both narrow gauge and standard gauge equipment on the same train. There are 3 other K-36s operating on the Durango and Silverton. Here's one of them, the 481. The 482. And lastly, the 486. To this day, 5 other K-36s survive. Number 483, 484, 487, 488, and 489 operate on the Cumbres and Toltec between New Mexico and Colorado. The 485 is the only K-36 not to make it into preservation. It was damaged in 1953 and scrapped in 1955. Here's the other locomotive of the day, Denver Rio Grande 477, even though that's not the true 477. Let me explain. The 477 was a K-28, again K standing for the wheel arrangement 282 Mikado. 28 is the pulling power, 28,000 pounds of tractive effort. It was a smaller, older engine. These were built by the American Locomotive Company, ALCO, in 1923. It was a class of 10 engines, numbered 470 through 479.
On December 7, 1941, Japan, like its infamous Axis partners, struck first and declared war afterwards. Costly to our Navy was the loss of war vessels, airplanes, and equipment, but more costly to Japan was the effectiveness of its foul attack in immediately unifying America in its determination to fight and win the war thrust upon it, and to win the peace that will follow.
World War II would have a big impact on the fate of the K-28s. The U.S. Army wanted all 10, but ended up with getting 7 to send to Alaska. The U.S. Army took over control of the White Pass in Yukon. That railroad was important for building the Alaskan Highway. It was war. It was considered an emergency. The K-28s did not receive the same level of care or maintenance as the ones in Colorado. Plus the harsh Alaska climate, they got pretty beat up in a short amount of time. Those 7 engines that went north were scrapped after the war. The 477 is one that went to Alaska and never made it back to Colorado. The 473 was one of the engines that stayed in Colorado. The 476 and the 478. Maybe that's why the old-timers are looking at this locomotive so closely. How could it be the 477? It was actually this engine, the 473, renumbered for 477. And that's the history of the 282 Mikados, 477, actually 473, and 480 for the last round trip of the season. Thank you for watching. Until next time.